Baldoni filed a 179-page lawsuit in New York federal court against Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds just got dragged by Fox News, and what they exposed flipped his entire image upside down. From secret tantrums to Hollywood fallouts, the truth is wilder than any Deadpool scene. And Blake Lively? She's not escaping this storm either. You thought you knew them? Think again. Stay locked in, because this isn't just drama, it's destruction. The Fox News expose, it all started with a podcast. Nothing to do with the red carpet here, not a video that got out. There is only one voice here. There is a podcast on Fox News called Kennedy Saves the World. What did they say? It shook Hollywood up. Ryan Reynolds, who is supposed to be a nice guy, got angry with a makeup artist while Deadpool 2 was filming. She was working outside of the country. Ryan didn't seem to care. He told them they had to go back or be blacklisted. Not from the set, from all over the company. He wasn't joking around. He made threats, according to sources, told her that if she wasn't there, she would never work again. That doesn't mean you're angry, that's a power play. Over beauty products, more than someone else who works somewhere else. This had nothing to do with quality or meeting deadlines. It was all about control. Ryan also let go without making any holds. Fox News couldn't lessen the effect. They really hurt him. The man who made a lot of money as a comedian was caught making threats to end his career over a powder brush. Their bold headline asked, "Who made Ryan Reynolds the boss of Hollywood?" No one laughed. Press this link. The two talked. The story picked up speed. A lot of people liked the podcast episode, quickly. All of a sudden, headlines were everywhere. The man was being dragged for ego, even though he was known for telling funny stories. Memes started, next are tweets, then TikHub. In spite of the laughs, something real was going on. People began to question the act. What else had Ryan done in secret if he could do this over a no-show? It was no longer just about one moment. It wasn't even about makeup. It had to do with power, the reserved kind, the kind that doesn't happen on camera. Not near the tours and press junkets, the kind that makes someone impossible to touch until they aren't. The sarcastic, sweet, and self-aware Ryan Reynolds that everyone knew did not match the one that Fox showed. This person didn't laugh at jokes. He told us what to do, and he threw someone out when they went off track. Once that first crack showed up, it never went away. It got around. With each day that went by, more names, stories, and warning signs came to light. After the first story airs, things don't get quiet. They get loud quickly. As more voices spoke up, the truth became harder to ignore. Ryan's charm was covering something much darker. The nice guy facade cracks. Ryan Reynolds made a name for himself by having fun. That turned out to be the key. He was the one who told jokes in interviews, posted some funny pictures, act like a husband who doesn't care about important things. People laughed, kept track of, and shared. It worked out well. He changed into more than just an actor. He turned into a person, and because of that, no one could touch him until it stopped. The Fox News report wasn't just about a meltdown. It showed how different Ryan can be from who he acts when the cameras are off. There is a kind side to the jokes that lies beneath them. People who worked for him started to say it. He doesn't like being questioned. He needs to be in charge of everything. He doesn't mess around when things go wrong. This is the same man who breaks one-liners on duty. Off set, he tells the others what to do, and they either do it or disappear. Fans all of a sudden began to pay attention. They saw that some actors weren't in the sequel returns. They saw as directors gave up on projects. It was the pattern that caught their eye. Ryan did more than just watch movies. He took them over, pick any, each split. He has to hear every joke. They were kicked out when someone pushed back. What looked like charm before now looked like a mask. It started to seem odd that he was so sarcastic. What they said wasn't funny. That was a defense. The quirky husband turned into a robot. The man who was important lost his drive. People began to wonder how long it had been fake. It looked like he wanted more power the more attention he got. Behind the scenes, people talked about how hard it was to work with him. There were rumors of rude behavior on set, temper tantrums and firings. The kinds of things that fans never went through, but people who lived nearby did. The part of Deadpool was never just a part. It was like a shield. As a break, a way to cover everything below. But when that picture starts to fade, it doesn't end with just one story. It brings everything that was buried to the surface. And when people stop thinking of you as nice, they start to see the truth. Why are the jokes funny in this case? What is under the brand? This is because the whole act starts with the mask breaking, which is exactly what happened next. Deadpool tyranny. Behind the red suit, something else was going on. Ryan Reynolds didn't just act in Deadpool, he controlled it. From jokes to edits, from casting to credits, he made the final calls. And if anyone stood in the way, they didn't stay long. The original Deadpool director, Tim Miller, was out before the second film even began. Not by accident, not by chance. Ryan wanted control. Miller said no, so he was gone. This wasn't a quiet switch. Miller was the director who helped launch Deadpool as a hit. But the moment he pushed back on creative choices, he was out, and Ryan stepped in. He didn't just star, he took over. Writers, editors, and designers followed his lead. Nothing moved without his say. Then came Deadpool 2. Changes hit fast. Morena Baccarin, who played Vanessa, had a huge role in the first film. But in the sequel, she was barely there. Her character disappeared from the press tours, the posters, and most of the storyline. Reports say she had a disagreement with Ryan, just one. And just like that, she was sidelined. T.J. Miller, another cast member, also spoke up. He played Weasel, the sidekick, the comic relief. But he said Ryan was mean to him on set. Not joking, not acting, just cold. He said it didn't feel like teasing. It felt personal. Crew members noticed it too. Something had shifted. These weren't isolated moments. They fit the pattern. A makeup artist threatened. A director replaced. Co-stars erased. Ryan wasn't just the face of Deadpool. He was the one pulling every string. Fox News saw the pattern and called it what it was. Control. Not a studio move. A personal power grab. The chill, joking actor people thought they knew. Behind the scenes, he was giving orders, making demands, and cutting people out. Fans started wondering how many people got removed so his voice stayed the loudest. Because when one person holds all the power in a blockbuster, you start noticing who's suddenly missing from the sequel. But Deadpool wasn't the only place Ryan's control showed. His friendships started shifting, and one in particular raised eyebrows. The Gyllenhaal freeze. Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal were once everywhere together. Interviews, press tours, behind-the-scenes clips. They promoted their movie Life like best friends who couldn't stop laughing. Fans loved the dynamic. It looked real, it felt fun. But once the movie hit theaters, the friendship vanished. No warning, no explanation, just silence. After the press died down, Jake backed away. No big moment, just space. Then came the interviews. When Ryan's name came up, Jake's face said it all. The energy dropped. He froze. He didn't joke. He didn't fake a smile. He simply said he had nothing to say. That wasn't a casual answer. That was distance, and it didn't stop there. Jake later unfollowed Ryan on social media. And Blake Lively, too. The timing mattered. It came right after both of them unfollowed him. Hollywood insiders noticed. They said the friendship didn't fade. It fractured. Behind the scenes, people said the two had fallen out for good. Not a small argument. Something final, something that broke everything. No posts, no apologies, just a wall. And when Ryan's behind-the-scenes behavior started surfacing, fans started looking back. They looked at the interviews, the smiles, the banter. It all started feeling off. What really happened? Was it personal? Was it professional? Whatever it was, it hit deep enough that Jake cut all ties and never looked back. The weird part? He never spoke on it again. No comments, no follow-ups, just silence. The kind that makes people dig deeper. Because when someone who used to laugh with you won't even say your name, people notice. Old clips started resurfacing. Moments that once seemed hilarious now felt uncomfortable. Fans questioned how much was real and how much was forced for cameras. Jake's silence wasn't the only clue. More people were stepping away from Ryan quietly, carefully. like they didn't want to be next. The list was starting to grow because when someone that famous starts losing close friends with no explanation, it's never just coincidence. Rebecca Ferguson's tennis ball confession. Some actors deal with tough co-stars, but Rebecca Ferguson went through something else entirely. She didn't just avoid a person. She chose to act with a tennis ball instead of looking at her scene partner. And when people looked closer, the details pointed straight at one name: Ryan Reynolds. She never said the name out loud, but she described the moment clearly. The co-star made her uncomfortable. He shouted at her. He rattled her so badly that she didn't feel safe on set. She asked to act without facing him, not in one scene, in all of them. The movie was Life, a sci-fi thriller released in 2017. Rebecca starred in it alongside Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. And when she described the experience, the timeline and cast narrowed it down fast. Her co-star was powerful. He had top billing. He was #1 on the call sheet. That meant he had control. She said there was no protection, no backup. No one stepped in. And after she spoke out, people in the industry told her she had gone too far. Not because she lied, but because she talked. The calls started. The pressure came fast. She was warned that speaking up would backfire, so she kept it vague. But her story matched everything already coming out about Reynolds. The yelling, the ego, the way people got iced out if they didn't do what he wanted. And now, her tennis ball confession didn't seem dramatic. It looked like survival. Hollywood didn't protect her. She was rising fast. But the system worked to protect the star, not the problem. Ryan walked away with his brand intact. Rebecca walked away with a secret she only told in pieces. But the pattern kept showing up. One name, one reputation, one silent mess that more and more people were starting to talk about. And she wasn't the last one pulled into it. Because just as her story came out, Ryan's own home life was about to take a sharp public turn. While Hollywood ignored Rebecca's warning, Blake found herself in a courtroom battle that put her perfect image at risk. Blake Lively caught in the collapse. Blake Lively had always played the part, not just in movies but in real life. The graceful star, the funny wife, the perfect half of Hollywood's favorite couple. But all of that cracked when she ended up in court. Not for a role, for real. It started with It Ends With Us, a film where she starred alongside Justin Baldoni. After filming, Blake filed a lawsuit against him. She said he harassed her. She said he retaliated. It didn't end there. Baldoni hit back with a massive response, $400 million in claims for defamation and extortion. And he didn't just name Blake. He was named Ryan Reynolds too. Now the perfect image started falling apart. Right in the middle of the legal chaos, Blake and Ryan showed up at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary. They smiled for cameras. They posed on the red carpet. Ryan even cracked a line that made the whole room pause. Online, people didn't laugh. They questioned everything. If Blake was suffering so badly, why appear at such a major event? If the legal fight was traumatizing, why joke through it? Fans didn't buy it. The story started to look staged, more performance than pain. Blake said the lawsuit gave her anxiety. She said her kids were affected. But the timing didn't match. Her public moves told a different story, and people noticed. Commenters started calling out the contradiction. Even Fox News ran with it. They said the couple was playing a media game, using charm and PR moves to steer attention away from the courtroom. The backlash grew louder. It wasn't just about the case, it was about how real their image was to begin with. If the perfect marriage was part of the brand, what was left when the brand broke? The courtroom became a mirror, one that reflected more than just legal claims. It showed how much of their story had been shaped for cameras. And now that the cameras were focused somewhere else, the pressure was shifting again. Because the next wave wasn't just about what Blake was facing. It was about who in Hollywood had finally stopped playing along. Hollywood speaks. When big stars mess up, people talk. But this time, the silence was louder. Ryan Reynolds is one of Hollywood's biggest names, but when his scandals started to pile up, very few people came to his defense. Instead of support, all that came was space. And that space, it said everything. His ex-wife, Scarlett Johansson, once described him as passive-aggressively jealous. That didn't sound playful, that sounded serious. Then came Alanis Morissette, who was engaged to Ryan before Blake. After their breakup, she dropped a whole album. In it, she talked about someone insecure, someone broken, someone who left her feeling crushed. Fans connected the dots fast. It didn't stop with exes. Quentin Tarantino, one of the most respected filmmakers alive, took a hard shot at Ryan's work. He said Ryan made $50 million on movies he'd never even heard of. That wasn't just shade, that was dismissal. As if Ryan's whole career didn't count. Then Gerard Butler got asked about Free Guy, one of Ryan's biggest hits. His answer? He didn't know what that was, didn't watch it, didn't care. That one sentence told you everything you needed to know about where Ryan stood with other actors. Even director Chris Columbus, the guy behind Home Alone, turned down Ryan's pitch for a movie called Stoned Alone. He didn't just say no, he called it an insult to cinema. That's not something you say when you respect someone's work. And while some stayed silent, others spoke with their actions. No posts, no praise, no defense, just distance. These weren't random people, these were insiders, directors, legends, exes. People who knew the real Ryan off camera, and not one of them showed up to say, "That's not him," which leaves one big question. If Hollywood's loudest voices are going quiet, what do they know that the rest of us are just now starting to see? Because when the ones closest to you start walking away, the next crack is never far behind. Hollywood's silence was telling. But the cracks didn't stop there, because Ryan's carefully crafted love story was starting to show its own flaws, the fake, funny marriage brand. Many people have been interested in Blake and Ryan for a long time. On the internet, they made fun of each other. There were jokes about birthdays. In interviews, they put each other on display to make people laugh. It was well thought out, clever, and cute. Each post came at the exact same time. Right before the movie, after getting bad press, just enough to remind people that they were still a great, funny couple. It worked out. Their name became more than just films. The way they did things changed into a media approach. A lot of people read it on the web. People thought they were just two sarcastic, silly lovers who didn't really think about life. But that picture has been getting less clear lately. Some people saw a pattern among the supporters. The jokes were only told behind closed doors when something very serious was going on. Drama in the law? Here's a post that makes you laugh. Mistake? A scandal. It's time for another roast on weird cake or bad hair. Use the same formula each time. It stopped being real after a while too. A lot of people started to wonder why. Why only write when something goes wrong? With all the bad news, why would someone try to pull off a comedy routine so hard? It felt like a cover. Not for love, but because of problems. And Blake's name became part of Ryan's public image just as hers began to get worse. Once Gossip Girl was over, she didn't have any great solo momentum. Not a big hit. There will be no flash forward. Her attention stayed on them because their brand did too. But if the brand fails, everything she built around it falls apart. The odd couple isn't acting as well as they used to. People in the audience who used to laugh are now just rolling their eyes. The fake jokes are no longer being bought by people. They want what's real. They want to know how much of that relationship was just a way to keep things from getting worse. Who's still laughing when the jokes stop making sense and the news keeps coming out? Ryan Reynolds built the image, but now it's slipping fast, and Hollywood's watching. What's next for Blake? For Ryan, for their brand? Hit like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.